appreciate it. I am back for another Blackish. We're doing a season review this time. Before we get started, I want to know how's everybody doing. Please let me know in the comments below. Hope you've all been well. So, season review. Man, I really do apologize. It's taken a while, but life happens. It is what it is. But I'm glad that we've gotten to sit down and take the time, and I found that this is actually something that people are interested in. So, this one isn't going to necessarily be as formatted with season one. I kind of going over and watching the episodes before I decide to do this review discussion. I kind of felt like watching it over made me reminisce over the things for why I enjoyed it in general. So I felt like that I'll kind of go over the general basis of characters. It's gonna, more or less what's I'm gonna be discussing topics are like the characters themselves, their dynamics in between each other for the most part, or how they relate to me. The dynamic that he has between his coworkers, and then the political portion of the series as well. So, starting off, one of the episodes that kind of really stuck out was the talk, what I felt like was a perfect one to kind of start off episode 2. The pilot was good. I enjoyed that. But with the pilot, you don't really necessarily know where the show's truly going to go off with. What I did gather from it, though, is that I truly did enjoy the dynamic between Dre and Bo. It's crazy enough that they are not married. Their marriage really did at that point resemble a lot of what's going on between my wife and I. She's personally is a vegan and very much into health and is a go-getter. So it's very funny on seeing Bo's dynamic and how she tries to do everything, or she does everything for the children, and that's really a huge goal. My wife and I only have one child, but that's one of our massive goals, is to have multiple children, and seeing like how she kind of like takes charge and just kind of takes over everything, and then makes sure that everything's in order and in unison is great. Thing, and very empowering, to see in a strong black woman. On the other hand, where we have with Dre, I find it funny just because a lot of season one is the beginning of my marriage, in the senses where I felt I enjoyed the smell of my own fart. You know what I mean? So just like any kind of thing that I did extra outside of the basic necessities of being a husband, now I'm doing chores, what I'm saying? So, I'm hot shit right now, So, yeah, just stuff like that. It was just kind of really fun that just seeing the back and forth. So, with episode 2, the talk, I really enjoyed on how it was future conversations that my wife and I have discussed on like having with our children, and I don't plan on ever like walking in on my son like like stroking and stuff or anything like that at all. It's very possible. Just move on past that. But besides it, just having these conversations in general, or just finally having like like our daughter's finally, because I have a girl and she's very independent, she's 3 years old and she likes to have her own space. So, in the morning, like when I wake up and I get up for the day and stuff like that, every now and then, she wakes up and she kind of, I need some space right now, Dad, I need to wake up, get some air. I need some fresh air. You've been next to me. I need to smell your breath right now, kind of thing. So I find that funny that as she gets older, she's gonna get more mature, have her own friends, their own dynamic, and go through different problems, so that we're not gonna always be there. So seeing that moment to where she finally comes back and asks Mom for advice, and the entire time she's just like, wow, I am such an awesome mom now. She's finally coming to me. You have no idea what I've done for you. Completely like ignoring what Zoe's talking about the entire time. I enjoyed it. It was hilarious because it came full circle with the relationship that they had with like their father, which like I said, I'm gonna kind of like back and forth bounce off a lot of things because why I enjoyed this season so much is because it started the stepping stones of realizing that how much I relate to this series, but their father, um, Dre's father, he actually ends up giving her advice on the situation, the problem that she was having at school. I don't actually remember what the problem is myself either. It probably was adolescence, whatever, regardless. But I enjoy the like I said, goals before. Like I want a large family, and seeing them with such a large family and having the stability to be able to like take my father in. Well, my father, he's successful on his own right now in Hawaii, living it up. So I don't. He's good. He'll be fine. He's married and stuff like that. So I don't have that. But to be able to and to have like my entire family in one roof, because I grew up with a single mother for most of my life. So that's kind of just been a goal. So to kind of see that and having like being able to have that readily advice, and we kind of have that same relationship, to where like my dad and I kind of like talk trash to each other for the most part, but when advice kind of comes around or like conversations about real stuff, he's there, and the exact same thing for as he is there for as God, I gotta figure out what um Mr. Fishburne's character's name is, but anyways, him giving advice to Zoe, that was a great example of something that I look forward to in my own family. But moving forward, the next episode that we have was Crazy Mom, which I found hilarious because at this point in my life, I've recently left the military, so now I'm a stay-at-home parent, and I'm doing a lot more of the stay-at-home things. So, like the beginning of the episode, like I said, once again, really focused on a lot of the beginning of my marriage, to where I was smelling my own fart, like I mean, I clean up the house, I get a 4-day weekend, and my lady go to work or something like that, and the house is clean. I made dinner. You're welcome. You know what I'm saying? So just like stuff like that would just happen all the time. So I just find it funny on just like how he even went the extra mile to like go ahead and do like a horror film kind of thing, to where he's just like in his head like playing like, watch, you just fell into a trap, you idiot, you about to get yourself killed. And you're right, I mean, just like our ladies do work very hard for us. The ones if you do find yourself in a power couple or a up and coming power couple kind of thing, stuff like that does happen. You do bounce off each other. So I just find it funny that that I mean, him thinking that he's doing a lot when he really wasn't doing much at all was just was enjoyable. But the premise of the episode was about him taking on the additional responsibilities, trying to go ahead and show Rainbow that he can go ahead and do just as much as he can for the house and help out and take on initiatives, although he's taking on more at work as well. With that, he bought some cupcakes because they made fun of Rainbow for going ahead and making some from scratch, and he was hot stuff that day. It was just like raining cupcakes for like he was cupcake man. So something else that I'm striving for is just like just because a lot of times that people see me, they'll find me and my daughter. Like we're going to the grocery store to go grab the groceries for the day, or going to go grab laundry supplies, or at the laundry room. Just regardless. Just doing whatever. A lot of times you'll find me and my daughter out doing things, and I just kind of just find that just more with his relationship with the other moms and stuff like that, like, oh, we don't find the other dads here. I get a lot of that sometimes or whatever, but just the fact that he's flaunting because their kids love him and they were just trying to explain on like how, when they had their moment to shine and stuff like that, and then how they got washed up, and how that's how kids are. It's just like whoever has the best thing is the coolest at that moment. It's the brutal honesty of their innocence, which is it's just adorable. Crime and punishment. Oh man, I'm not sure. I think this is like episode 5 or 6. Regardless, we're just moving it through. Just talking about whatever episodes as we come through, and just other things that came across. I'm gonna move on. Like I think I have like a couple more episodes that I'm really talking about involving, just because I appreciated how the first couple of episodes really just showed the dynamic between the family and how they're really trying to relate towards each other. That was great. Um, Crime and Punishment. I love that just because just the thumbnail of an individual was just Jack and just like a billion different like jackets on, just because I've been like prepared for whippings, and I know that I did something bad at school, and I put on like 100 different pairs of pants. I've had conversations with other like adults about just in general on just the clever ideas on ways to like prevent like our whippings from being any worse than what they would be. I had a friend that he would like put like toilet paper in it, like in his underwear, and just like layer like a whole roll, and like his mom found out, and then she got even more mad because he wasted all this toilet paper. So just small like dumb stuff that we would do because we wouldn't want a whipping. But now that we're in a different time period to where we need to not have such harsh discipline, because a lot of that stemmed from a lot of negative things that of us like lashing our children, or like like the paddle beatings. Just discipline was just a lot harsher at different time periods, and as the generations have gone on, we've gotten lighter and lighter, and now we're at the point to where we can really just talk to our children. I mean, not saying that we couldn't then, but it's really just boiled down to the point of why are you beating them, and really bringing that into the conversation. And that's what I appreciated about this episode, because we've all had different backgrounds with it. Me personally, I was pampered. I got beaten. My mom ran with an iron fist. Don't get me wrong. There was no cussing, or there was you were in by the lights were on. No talking back. You ate whatever was in front of you. You get what I'm saying. But like for example, my wife, she had like very harsh beatings and stuff like that. They were a lot harsher than mine, and there was a lot of different dynamics going on with her relationship with her family as well too from time to time, which made sense on that. So why she personally has a different mindset on weapons, like they're like across the board like a no. Like you can always talk to them. There's no reasoning for it to get to the point to where you show that, because there's a certain sense of aggression and a level of fear. You're no longer and you're no longer gaining a level of respect from the child. The respect that the child has for you comes out of fear as opposed to respect at that point. And I understand that. I did not. I grew up out of that discipline of fear kind of thing. So it was a lot easier for me to go ahead and be at the ready to want to say, well, you're going to get whipping for this kind of thing or whatever. But we've had the conversation on there's other routes, the corner, there's talking to, and really just breaking down on why the child does it, because it all comes down to fundamental things that even we did as children, that it doesn't have to be this or that, because by disciplining so heavily, it stemmed into other things. It stemmed into being sneaky and lying, so I don't want to really go too far into that, because I mean, like I said, these are just like different segments and dynamics that the show just brought together that I really appreciated, and showing on how just the different challenges of parenting, and as well just all of the different they really just like hit all of the points, the basic points of being a family, and they're not only just a family, but a black full family, with the mom, just like the Brady Bunch kind of looking kind of family. We don't the I and that's what I really appreciated coming from the series, is that it really gave me like a Cosby feel. And I didn't grow up with the Cosbys. I grew up before that generation, so I mean, like, I know Raven Simone just because of, like, she's from That's So Raven, but I didn't grow up watching Bill Cosby, regardless of the allegations and stuff like that that are going on with him as a person now. He did inspire a lot of black children to go to college, and that it was okay to come back home to your family when things got bad, because they always had a home for you to come home to. Having building those structures and that development of a family, as opposed to the broken homes that you're used to and you're used to seeing. And like I said, for me personally at the beginning of this, is that that's what I grew up with. But moving forward, Oplica Triangle, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but the episode of the dynamic that he had with Dre and his mom. Ruby is like a mixture of my mother and my grandmother, which is hilarious, just in the senses of on on the level that of the relationship that they have with Rainbow, or that they have with my wife. Like, if you blend the both together, because my grandmother, she has a very she's very harsh, like she's very, like, very brutally honest, and it doesn't really sway from our opinion. And like I said, my wife is vegan, so I eat a lot of very healthy meals. I enjoy meat just in general, but for the most part, I eat what, like I said before. My mother was a single mother. I'm not gonna say she was a bad cook, because she wasn't a bad cook at all, but spaghetti was spaghetti. It was noodles and sauce. It wasn't like for example, now, like, it's like a bunch of different types of tomatoes, different types of basil sauce, a bunch of parsley, just it just the works. I'm getting like restaurant quality kind of stuff, married, as opposed to what's different. And then on top of that, for the most part, it's not meat in it. It's going to be like some kind of it's going to be not artificial, but plant-based proteins and stuff like that, or whatever. So very different. And when I went to go actually to visit my family with my wife, that was a lot of the dynamic that was coming about. It's just more or less that you're not good enough kind of thing, or that you kind of taking away my baby and stuff like that. And like, when he the night that, like, her first night there or whatever, like, it was how Dre had passed out inside his mom's bed, and Rainbow was looking all around the house like, "Where's my husband?" I remember, like, my first night actually back from the army. We had finally came down to come visit my mom and stuff like that. Like, I just had my daughter and stuff or whatever, and everyone was looking around like, where was I at? And I was passed out in my mom's bed. I mean, just a mama's boy. So I can really relate on in that dynamic, because I really appreciate, that on how well and how and the chemistry they tried to give the family in general, so that everyone has their own relationships and blend together nicely. It feels very organic. For them not for them just to be a cast, and for this just to be season 1. I really enjoyed. And that's what is funny too about, like, looking at the caption picture I have up as well, because everyone's so little, in comparison to how it is later on in the series. But yeah, I really appreciated that, and that's just involving, and that's going to more or less end this segment. I'm going to try and speed it up a little bit more or less, but moving forward. But yeah, that's how I felt on how season 1 did on the characters. All of the characters I really enjoyed on how they blended very well together. The chemistry really developed well throughout the episodes. I really appreciated on how you understood going into it on how everyone was going to react to each other. Their comedic timing got better as they moved along, and it was just all around just very relatable. Like, I feel like they really thought out every episode before they put it out, on the message they were trying, what they were, the story in and of itself, and then the subliminal message they were trying to do behind that. I feel like we're all really good. So moving forward, what I wanted to talk about was no, yeah, the moving forward, yeah, I wanted to talk about the work dynamic. So like the relationship like that he has with like his coworkers. Um, I don't have everyone's names. I do apologize for that. I'm doing this late at night. Um, I I'll be much more professional with this moving forward. I have everybody's names for season two for sure. But I want to just go ahead and say, starting off, that I do appreciate how that they grew or shrunk, if you will, with how many coworkers, because that was a lot of people. That was a lot of people in that work office. Really looking at it from, I actually started this series in season three, and then I went back after that because I realized, like, okay, I actually like this. I want to move forward, but I don't want to binge through it. Let me just go ahead and actually go back, understand how everyone got to this point before moving on with season four. So, but that was just a lot of people. Like, I think it was like maybe like the boardroom had like maybe 8 to 8 people. They only needed like 6, and really dwindling that down. But I appreciate, as they developed and tried to figure out on where to do it, on how to do it. At first, episode 1, 1 or 2, they were like in the bathroom, and that's where like they kind of had like their man talk, more or less, you'd say. And then they moved it into the boardroom, where like mainly the boardroom, that's where they kind of have like Dre's venting moments, or his man talk moments, for lack of a better word. I'll go with venting, just because the fact of the matter is that they also add, and they keep a woman cast member inside of it, and I really appreciate that, just because, like I said, the show hits a lot of different dynamics, and it tries to hit a lot of different points for a lot of different people, because the show, although it is called Blackish and it is to relate to black people, it's relatable to a lot of different people of a lot of different backgrounds and different cultures. And I do like on how they are very open and let you feel that sting that they give to women, because it is out there, and just as much as we as black people do feel those stings, or that backlash for being black, or that slight sense of shade for things that do happen, women do as well, and even white women. And that's what I do appreciate, that they do have her, and they do switch up the cast woman, the cast member, from season 1 to season 2 on. But like I said, I'm going to have all of their names down moving forward. But regardless, I just want to just make sure I pointed out that I do appreciate that, because the show is for everyone to see, and for everyone to be able to take something from it. So besides that, and Charlie needing to like get with like some kind of screenwriter or somebody to get him a TV show going, or a podcast, something, because we need more Charlie. I like him inside of Grownish. I have mixed opinions on that. I've seen some of the later episodes, so I do appreciate it more, and I'm going to actually end up doing a season review for that. If I can actually catch up on everything else, I'll probably end up doing an episode review if they do have more episodes, or season 2 coming out, because I don't necessarily know if the season has ended or not by the time that this podcast, or this episode, season review. I don't necessarily know what to call this. Regardless, I'm just getting out my discussion. I appreciate the show. I see that there are other people that do appreciate the show, and it's not talked about enough, so that's more or less the reasoning for why I'm doing this. But besides me getting sidetracked onto a bunch of other different stuff, I want to hit the political issues before I go ahead and end this off. They've kind of hit a lot of different points throughout the series. This season 1 in general, they've just like little small snippets on different issues that have happened. But I really like the having just one just solid episode just to talk about it. The MLK episode was nice. I like the subliminal message that I personally took from it, is that we don't know enough about our history. As a black person, I don't. I'm junior. I was junior in that situation to where there's a lot of things that we've done that I don't know about, and I only know about what has been told to me as opposed to own personal research that I've done. And one of my goals is aspiring to create such a large family is I want to have like feel like more of like a tribe, kind of thing. Like I want to know about the history of Black Americans. I want to learn Xhosa as a home language that we kind of just speak in between each other. Just I saw it in yes, I saw it in Black Panther, and I find it cool, just in general, just to just have like a personal language that we speak at home. I find Hispanics have it, and a lot of different other cultures have it, Muslims, etc. But African Americans don't, and there's no personal. I feel like there may be personal interest too, but there's no drive to go ahead and work for it. And that's the message that I felt like that I really took from it, is just being black isn't enough. If we're going to go ahead and to preach and to want for other people to go ahead and accept us, we need to go ahead and to understand and appreciate our own culture, which brings out the other side to to that episode as well, about on how we need to, if we're going to go ahead and be open, we need to remove the chip off our shoulder, because the entire episode, Dre had a chip on his shoulder. He was expecting for everyone to be racist the entire episode, and they weren't. No one was racist to him the entire time. He was sitting in this gorgeous, fancy behind jail, getting snickerdoodle cookies and stuff like that or whatever, and but writing oppression letters, just I can't say that he's wrong for feeling that way, and that's another thing that I wanted to point out, or I feel like that the episode is also trying to point out, is that we have that black people have been put in positions to where trying to open out and trying to diversify all forms of society in America, and making it more open for black people to be seen doing other things has been difficult, because there's been like remarks or a sense of racism, like where he was trying to get like into the hotel, but there wasn't a reservation available for him. I'm not certain if he booked one or not ahead of time and now it wasn't available, but regardless, those are issues that black people do deal with, and but they had a logical reasoning for it, and then he ended up actually getting upgraded his room for the inconvenience. So there's just I really like overall on how they try to hit a lot of points and leave a lot of subliminal messages, and ways that you can watch the episodes multiple different times and learn something or see something different. You can because there are so many different characters, you can see something different there as well. There's just so much to gain from every episode of this series, that which is why even with going ahead and going back, it's very enjoyable. Like I said before in the season finale review of episode of season 4, that I have watched this multiple times, because it's very inspiring for me as a black man. I'm only 25 years old. I only have a 3-year-old. I'm looking to have a colony of children. I want to have like 3 to 4 children, possibly 5. But I want to strive to be able to build something, a legacy for them as well. So seeing a successful power couple that doesn't have to be a Dre and Beyonce, a Jay-Z and Beyonce, Dre and Beyonce. Sorry about that. But yeah, regardless, they don't have to be these massive celebrity couples, but just be successful in whatever passions that they have in life, and doing that, and then allowing their children to have the opportunity to do the exact same. That's all I want, and I appreciate for my generation to be able to see that on TV, kind of thing. So to be honest, there was a time when I was actually going through something really rough, and this is all I would watch. I would go ahead and I would go to work. I would kind of work on my side business if I had one at the time, or trying to just like figure out on what we're going to go ahead and do next. But when I was off my off time, I would just watch that. like my if my daughter was watching TV or whatever, we'd watch cartoons and stuff. But I didn't really feel like any urge to watch anything other than um, this couple trying their best to go ahead and make it in society, and aspire to have a home or to have the comfortability that they have and be able to give that to my child. So before I go, I just wanted to thank anyone that has stayed for the 30 minutes of this entire thing. That is crazy. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Like I said, moving forward, I'm gonna have this done a lot more professionally. Season one, I really felt like was really just about how it made me feel. There was a lot of really episodes I can really pull on how relatable this series is to me, and yeah, I just felt like that was the best way to segue into on why I enjoy the series and be the most organic moving forward on for when I bring up plot points or things that I like or dislike about it, because it means a lot to me. And not in the senses of like that. Like going away or anything like just like extreme at all, but where it's something inspiring to look at, to visually be able to see. I want to do that. I want to be able to be like that, in just the same way that I felt like where with Black Panther, and how the conversation of like a superhero with like black children, on being able to see like another person, how like when Falcon came out like as Captain America's sidekick, or how he actually came out to actually end up eventually becoming the Captain America. Whoa, this is gone very far off. But anyways, what I'm saying though is just that I appreciate on how, in general, the series has inspired just in every aspect of a black family, on how you can relate to that and how to inspire to be more or to be better than where you are right now. So yeah, that's all. Thank you all for your time again, and have a great day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in life. I hope that it gets better. Take care.